Hello guys, it's Glurmit here, and today's video is actually a little bit of a short one. And we're just going to be talking about the journey guide, and it's not going to be a long video, and we're basically just going to be covering when should you actually be going for different characters. The thing is, guys, I do so many roster reviews, I look at so many different accounts in this game of you guys. On stream, off stream, I'm always looking at different accounts. And to be honest, I kind of enjoy it because I learn a lot from you guys and your accounts. Sometimes I see some weird modding and then I see there's like a trend, and then I discover that I don't actually have the full understanding of the game, which I'm always open with you. There's people way more knowledgeable than I am, but I will always try my best to share that knowledge that I gain with you guys. And I just like seeing what people do with the accounts. And one thing I always notice, and this is one of the bad things, guys. There are some bad things that you guys have been doing. And that is where I'll see an account and it will be like, everyone's unlocked, or the main characters are unlocked, like GLs, GL teams, and they're just low relics. And I do have a video, and I'll link it in the description, I made a few weeks ago talking about when to relic up for that reason. However, today's not about relics, guys. Today's about farms. And I want to kind of break down, I will call it the myth, that you need a bunch of Galactic Legends to actually have success in the game. So this video came to mind when I was scrolling through my YouTube shorts, and Nooch popped up. Not once, not twice, but about 10 times, respect the grind. It was pretty crazy. I don't know why, but it was back to back to back to back to back. So yeah, enjoy your 10 views there, Nooch. And one of the videos, he was doing a roster review of a guy who had 4 Galactic Legends. It might have even been 2. I can't remember now. It was a day or two ago when I watched this. And they were low GP. They didn't really have ships. They didn't really have Galactic Legends. Yet they were in Kyber, which is massive because the daily crystal income would allow them to grow extremely quick. And they don't have the Galactic Legends, so they are literally proof that you don't need it to get there. And obviously in his roster review, he then identified pretty well, and I always love seeing roster reviews of people identify solutions and problems and correct everything, that a lot of it was down to data crunch, and a lot of it was down to like modding and all of these sorts of things. I'll link to the YouTube short in the description for you guys to watch if you do want to see what I'm talking about. And what you'll find, guys, is you don't have to run GL to GL to GL, and actually when you're building a good account, that can actually negatively impact you. The reason being, right, if you want to have a good account, guys, if you want to do really well in Kyber, it's not just about having the Galactic Legends, it's being able to counter everything in between whilst being able to utilize yours to the maximum benefit. So for example, you might be someone who, and shout out to Dank Ideals because that's what I'm talking about here, you might be someone who takes Leia in against Queen Amidala because you just don't have a counter to it. For example, General Skywalker with Captain Rex, or just General Skywalker with a real well-modded Rex, both work pretty well there. Also take, for example, SLKR. You might be early game and not have a decent non-Galactic Legend counter to him. Obviously now that does change due to the release of Darkseid Ray, however, give it 1 to 2 years before that's mainstream. Oh, thank you so much for the sub, man. Appreciate it. Anyways, guys, the point I'm making is a good account in terms of PvP not only has the Galactic Legends, and there are some that are better than others, but it has the roster depth behind it. You don't need to go Galactic Legend, Galactic Legend, Galactic Legend. And actually, I think that can negatively impact you. And the reason I'm going to say that, let's say, for example, you start an account and you go for the Executor, which is here. You're going to have Darth Vader up, Piet up, Boba Fett up, Dengar up, IG up, and Bounty Hunters and all of that, and obviously get the Razor Crest at the end. Now let's say, for example, you're someone who doesn't invest in teams or complete the teams to the full. You might have a decent Imperial Trooper team. It can work with just Piet relics, no problem there. Your Bounty Hunter team is going to be mid to low tier, unfortunately. And you might have not invested in the teams around them, so you can't even bring Datacrons, because sometimes if you bring, like, for example, a TM Cron, you might be able to get off the contract early, and then you can have a gas counter, or a Traya counter, or just anything along those lines of your bounty hunters, because you're going to have Mandalorian and Greef through doing the Executor, because you have to do Beskar Mando. Then let's say you actually go ahead and you go from Executor and you're farming Leia. Well, now you have an Ewok team, you have Captain Rex, and maybe you have Low Gear Phoenix. They're like Gear 8, Gear 9, and okay, that can do something, but there's limitations there. And let's say you have Akbar, but he's not really being used anyway, you have Scout Trooper, maybe they go with Iden, and you're getting these good characters. You're not getting anything else, and you're just going from one farm to the next farm to the next farm. And what I'm suggesting to you guys is, rather than go 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, don't be afraid to take a second, take a break. For example, we're going to go down the route of Jabba one day on the free-to-play, or just you guys are probably farming him. We unlock JKL, and JKL, because you need him for that account, or that unlock, sorry. If we look at Jedi Knight Luke down here, he requires you to have Wampa. Wampa is obviously decent to have in Grand Arena, not so much in Kyber anymore, but you can still get some value. You get Commander Luke, you get C-3PO. Sorry guys, if you can hear a helicopter outside, I think there's like some sort of police search going on. No idea what's going on out there. And then we got to this tier, and you can see we actually have Rebel Saleya, Captain Hunt. And this is where you would go and take the extra step and actually farm Sana. There's no reason to farm her other than going for Aphra, and a lot of people don't do it. You don't have to take her to Relics, you don't have to even take her to Gear 12, but just getting her farmed and applying that Zeta will make a team that you couldn't use before work. And in this case, Sana is very anti-Empire, and she does work at low gear. So if you're going up against, say, a Grand Inquisitor, obviously if you're in Kyber, guys, in the high ends of Kyber, maybe you have a big account, obviously this won't all apply to you. This is more for those who are early to mid-game. But if you're in this sort of position, no longer do you need to burn a Galactic Legend. Instead, you can use your mid-tier team that didn't take you that long to invest in, because you've already done most of the work. Obviously, it's going to delay everything else, but not substantially. And I'm telling you now, guys, if that puts you in a position where instead of using, say, for example, Leia, as we spoke about earlier, against Queen Amidala, and you can actually set her on defense, that could be the difference in winning and losing. Because she's an example of a character who, up until when I've showcased Dash, just wrecking her, which is kind of fun. She just performs so well on defense that no matter what GP you have, if you can place her, there's always the possibility you win based on that alone. And if you're not in Kyber, and you're not in high-end Erodium, even if you see these big accounts, they're not going to have the mods or the knowledge in order to actually counter. So the hold rates are going to go way higher. So what my recommendation to you guys is just don't speed between farm to farm to farm. And if you want to know a general rule I would stick to, and actually my great friend The Optimist gave me this little speech yesterday on the podcast recording, which you guys will see soon. He said his recommendation is every 2 million GP aim for 1 Galactic Legend. Now obviously it's an average. So what he's basically saying is by 6 million GP you should have 3 Galactic Legends, but that doesn't mean you should have 2 by 4 million GP. It just means the average should obviously average out. And I actually think this is a really, really good way to think about it, because my recommendation is you do need Galactic Legends, but I think you need the other teams to supplement the roster. So if you're someone who goes by this rule, you could spend 0 to 2 million GP, get your first Galactic Legend. Then by 4 million GP, you may not have any more, but then by 5, you could have 3, and then it obviously evens out over time. But if you go by this route instead, it means you're actually building out pilots, you're actually building out side teams. The amount of times I've seen people farm General Skywalker, but because the clones aren't required anywhere, they just don't get farmed up. That's a great team missing. So my recommendation to you guys is just aim for every 2 million GP to have 1 Galactic Legend, and then sprinkle all of these in between. Like I said, guys, if you want to see how to relic or when to relic characters, go ahead and watch the video linked in the description. But this video was really just supposed to start a dialogue, not really between me and you, but obviously between you guys and yourselves. Or even in the comments, please do leave your thoughts there about the whole account building process, because there's so many steps to it, guys. There really is. There's no right or wrong way. but there are ways that I think benefit you longer. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to go Galactic Legend, Galactic Legend, Galactic Legend, Galactic Legend, and then you have to stop for months to fill out these teams because you've not been doing it as you go along. Like with anything in life, guys, if you do a little bit every day, this could be revising for an exam, this could be, you know, applying for a job, going for a new, promotion at work, you know, anything in life. If you can get exercising, health, eating well, anything, if you can get a little bit done each day, over time that will accumulate and actually give you the success you want. If you push it away and say you're going to do it later, what's going to happen is when later comes, which sometimes it never does, you're going to have way too much to do and it's going to push you back even further. So my recommendation, guys, is just, you know, take it easy, aim for a Galactic Legend every 2 million GP, and more importantly, just enjoy the game. Anyways, guys, I hope this was useful to some of you. If it was, then please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Obviously, leave any comments you may have down below. I do try and read and reply to every single one. And as always, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My name is Glurmit, and have a glurming day.